Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 Ford Bronco. This is a Big Bend with the Sasquatch package. It's finished off in hot pepper red metallic. MSRP is just over $55,000. Now this is powered by the 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine. It's paired to the 10-speed automatic, pumping out 275 horsepower, 315 pound-feet of torque. That power is primarily sent to the rear wheels. However, this does have the 4-wheel drive system. It weighs in right around 4,800 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 7 seconds with a top speed of 106 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 20.8 gallons. You'll expect to see around 18 miles per gallon in the city, 17 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 116.1 inches. Its overall length is 198.9. It has a width of 75.9, a height of 78.7. Its ground clearance measures in at 11.7 inches, and it also has an approach angle of 37.8 degrees, a breakover angle of 26.3, and its departure angle is 37.1 degrees. As we move on to the exterior styling now for the Ford Bronco, this has been out for several years now, and I think it has a really good look to it, mimicking the original Broncos very nicely. So for this model, we have white Bronco letters spelled out in that grille. There's also cutouts and active grille shutters to provide additional cooling when needed. Now the entire grille has a nice gray trim to it, and this even has a full set of LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with LED fog lights in the lower bumper. There's also more active grille shutters and a cutout in that middle, tow hooks in the lower section there. This model does have a plastic front bumper. You can opt to get steel bumpers if you would like to. And then really nice lines coming down the hood, as well as these accessory attachment points. So you can actually use the access ready points in the top of the windshield there, as well as those for any additional accessories that you would like. Now, as we work our way to the side, this model is equipped with the Sasquatch package. So it gives it the 35-inch tires along with the 17-inch wheels with that two-tone design to them. There's plastic fender arches for both front and rear. They stick out a good bit to accommodate those larger tires. Now for the side mirrors, one thing with the Bronco that's really cool is that these side mirrors are actually fixed to the base of the windshield there. That way when you open up the door, they are not attached, and when you remove the doors, you can lower the window. They're all pillarless, so you can actually store all 4 doors in the cargo space, so that way you can bring them with you, which is very cool. Now there's also a few different options for the roof. This has the hardtop, as you can tell, and then some nice lines that run down the side just to give it a good look. Now in back, full-size spare is mounted with the backup camera right in the middle. Third brake light is at the top. This has LED taillights as well, and you can opt for the hitch, so you can tow up to around 3,500 pounds with this when properly equipped. We do have the plastic rear bumper. Again, you can get steel if you would like to. And then with the swing gate, very easy to open up, even with that full-size spare. And then from there, you can open up that glass there, where you have a good bit of cargo space. Now, if you fold down the back seats, obviously that will give you a lot more if needed. Over on this driver's side, you have a connection here. So when you want to take the back of the roof off, you can place that right there. You have a little bit of space. On the passenger side, there's a 12-volt, a dome light too. And you do get a little bit of space underneath the floor. One thing that I think is missing, when you take the roof and the doors off, there's no area to place the bolts. In the back of the Wrangler, you can put all the bolts in one place so you don't lose them. I think that would be nice to see for the Bronco here. But aside from that, very easy to close that up, of course, and pretty practical for its sizing. Now, in back, we have a really nice door panel with that two-tone design. There's a storage net down below, even a grab handle here for when you take the doors off. And then that two-tone design works its way to these back seats. We have a grab handle in the back, so that makes it easy to jump up into this. And at 5'10", I have plenty of space. We have these areas in the back where you can place some more accessories along with these storage nets there. There's also the window controls and some auxiliaries down below. And then at my height, what I love about the Bronco is you have a lot of headroom. So I have 4 or 5 inches above my head. These seats do recline too, just a little bit to make it that much more comfortable. And then you have the armrest and cup holders in the middle. There's also speakers on the back of the roll cage there. Dome lights are right in the middle. And you have a lot of glass, so it's pretty easy to see all around. And then up front, door panel is just like the rear. However, you do have lock and unlock, and then you have some more storage down below. Same grab handle to remove the doors. And then we have the manual front seats here with those controls on the side. Grab handle's actually mounted right there, so there's not one up on top like you saw in the back there. Now this has a leather steering wheel. We have cruise control on this left side along with volume, your lane keeping assist. Right side there's tuning, and you have Bluetooth controls, and then all of these for the gauge cluster. So let's fire this up, where we have the same design as the headlight and DRLs in the grille, which is a nice touch. But now, looking at the gauge cluster, you have your miles per hour on the left side along with your engine temperature. And then with the digital screen on this right side, you can go through quite a lot. So you can go into your trip and fuel, go into your off-road, so you can monitor all of this information here. You can also look at navigation, you have phone, audio, and various settings. So the gauge cluster will change. And then you'll notice too on the far right side, this is your My View. So you can customize what you would like to see on that right side just by going into menu and going into My View. So that way you have shortcuts that you can quickly scroll through. And then you have some other vitals like your RPM, miles per hour, and your fuel level within that screen. Now on this left side, there's all the headlight adjustments, fog lights, you have dimmer switches, and the e-brake there. One air vent, which is tucked away over on that left side. You actually have a little bit of storage too within the dash. So you can place some items there. You can hook up different accessories, so you can place phone mounts or anything like that. And then behind that, we have a row of very cool toggles. So we have the hazards and traction control. This model also gets the trail turn assist, so that way that can shorten your turning radius off-road. And then we have the rear and front locker. This is missing the sway bar disconnect that would be right there. But with this massive infotainment system, you have all the fixed information in the lower section. So you have audio as well as phone. You can pull up the navigation. And then you also have some apps like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Various settings that you can go into to configure this as needed. And some different features. You have your driver assistance that you can go into and go through all of this depending on how you would like to set it up. And then you'll notice too on the far right, we have a split view within the screen. So you can look at information on that right side and still have it on that left side. So underneath that, there's power and volume as well as tuning. You have the engine start stop feature, and then all of your climate adjustments. For your heated seats too, you have fan speed, temperature dials, where you'd like the air to go, laid out very well. There's an auxiliary with a little bit of storage down below, even a small plaque there that looks like the Ford grille with the bolts on both sides and Ford going right through the middle. Two cup holders on that one side. And then with reverse, you have a massive rear view camera there. You have the top down view that you can go into. You have parking sensors too. And then there's also drive and the manual setting. So you can use plus and minus to shift if you need to. Behind that, we have the dial for your four-wheel drive as well as your off-road cruise control. And then we have the GOAT settings. That means goes over any terrain or goes over all terrain. And just by twisting that dial, you can go through the several different driving modes. So we have a few for on-road, and then there's also a few for off-road. And it will also set up the four-wheel drive system depending on the mode that you're in, or of course, you can go through that and do it yourself. Now, right in the middle, we have all the window controls along with the side mirror adjustments. We have a locking center armrest with a small tray and a good bit of space. And then you also have the glove box for a lot more room. And then Bronco is over on that passenger side. Now there's also a sunglass holder up top. We have all the dome lights. And then for this particular hardtop, you have a few latches that you have to remove. So there's 4 in each corner. You do the driver's side first and then the passenger side. From there, you can actually remove the entire rear passenger and then leave the entire cargo space. So it's nice that that is separated. You can have the front half off and keep that back, as it is a pretty heavy piece, a little bit inconvenient to remove all the time. But then as far as visibility goes, you have a lot of view all around. As we set up now behind the wheel for the Ford Bronco, we've had a lot of seat time behind the wheel of this SUV. We've been in the Bronco Raptor, we've been out west off-roading, we've been in normal Broncos like this, hitting the trails. This is a really cool, I would say well-rounded SUV. It's not luxury focused by any means. So obviously there's some wind noise and things like that to be expected for an SUV like this. But I've put quite a lot of miles behind the wheel this one, being out on the highway, things like that. The wind noise isn't something that I would say is a big negative towards it. It's almost like you don't really kind of know that it's there unless you're really listening to it or it's an incredibly windy day. It's just something to know that it's not going to be as insulated as something more luxurious like a BMW or Mercedes, that kind of level. But you have the option to take the roof off, the doors off. It's something that you're going into knowing that you can do all that, you can expect that in an SUV like this. But with that being said, I have really enjoyed my time behind the wheel for the last week. This is something that I truly want to buy at some point. Having the top off, just enjoying some really nice, cool evenings has been so much fun with this. I'm not taking the doors off. It's a good process. I have a video down below showing the whole process to take the roof and the doors off if you'd like to see that. But it's nice. It is a lot more comfortable than what you would think. Having the independent front suspension can make this for a great daily as far as how the suspension rides. I'm not really yelling too loud, so hopefully you can kind of tell that, but we have a big truck coming, so let's take a listen. Doesn't sound all that different. I'm going about 50 miles an hour right now, so I can feel the wind, but this is something that a lot of people daily drive. I would daily drive it. I think this is very nice. So seating position is great, and you sit very high up. It's like you're in a Ford Series pickup truck with how you sit. I like the rake of the windshield. It's a cool SUV to be behind the wheel of. Now, if you're unfamiliar with our channel, I used to own a Jeep Wrangler, so I would say the most competitive SUV to the Wrangler is the Bronco that we were in, and if I did it again, I would go Bronco. The Jeep was cool, but I feel like the Ford has made some improvements to that. We don't have the solid front axle, but we get a much smoother on-road. If you get the sway bar disconnect, you have almost just as much articulation off-road. And I just like the setup of this a lot better. I know there's a huge debate between Wrangler and Bronco, but having owned a Wrangler, I would definitely go Bronco. But let's put it into sport mode now, and we're going to use the shifter here. It's also putting into four-wheel drive for sport mode, so 4 high is, or 4 auto is what it's doing there. And let's drop it down to 3rd gear, give it some gas. Now, this is the smallest engine option that you can get in the Bronco, 2.3 liter. There's a 2.7, and then there's also the 3 liter, which I believe is just reserved for the Bronco Raptor. But a mild acceleration like that, and we're up to speed. I don't think that it is underpowered by any means. And the fact that we have the Sasquatch package, this small engine is turning these 35s. Now, we've been off-road with the smaller engine with the 35s, and it seems to do pretty well too. So really just depends on what your preference is. Personally, I would go the 2.7. And we're still in sport mode. We will just go to a normal drive. Here we go. Honestly, not bad for a mild acceleration. A little bit of lag there, but I didn't mash my foot to the floor there. So honestly, not a bad engine option if this is the route that you would like to go. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the Ford Bronco. Hopefully you can tell it is much different than most other SUVs in the market. Similar to the Wrangler, of course, similar to almost a 4Runner as well, maybe a Defender too. We have a few boxy style SUVs that are available. Now, over the week that I've been driving this, honestly, I can't really find anything negative to say about it, aside from wind noise, which is going to be a personal preference. But again, if you're buying this, that's something that you have to know and expect when you're getting this, depending on what the weather is like. That's really the only thing that I can knock it for, and that's just what it is with what you are getting. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time driving this, and it's making me want to get a Bronco. So I've been in 4 or 5 now, and it's a nice place to be. There's so many different options that you can go with as well, just depending on your budget and how you want to spec the vehicle. So you can get some more off-road goodies, you can get some different materials. It's almost endless with what you can get. Handling is also pretty good too. So with the independent front suspension, it's definitely nice for on-road driving, and then it is still very capable for the off-road setting. So it's definitely a good blend between the 95% of the time that this is going to be on road, you have the off-roading capabilities for the times that you want to do that. So this is something for off-roading, for cruising with a top down, still practical SUV. So it can kind of do a mix of everything, which I think is really cool. That's going to wrap it up though for the 2024 Ford Bronco. Check out the videos that we've made taking this off the pavement, as well as taking the doors and the roof off if you'd like to see those aspects to the Bronco. But give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.